The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. It's about achievements. We'll unlock it. Well, this week's show features another two-host extravaganza. We hit up Ubisoft's Far Cry 5 announcement, talk Red Dead Delayed, and mix it up with Microsoft's new Beam announcement. Our community feedback highlights our thoughts on saving Microsoft, the death of the Xbox 360, where do we draw the line, and our favorite fictional pets, both with and without Pokemon answers. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 76. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Today's show is brought to you by the achievement Zombies. Man, they freak me out. From the game Zombie Army Trilogy. We have started a new boosting group through the community for the game Zombie Army Trilogy between What the Fug, Beer Me 7, and Koosh Moose with myself. And we started our journey last night and had some serious fun. For those of you who may want to play along, you can play 4-player co-op Horde mode, where this particular achievement comes from. There are achievements for reaching Wave 10 on each map. Now, keep in mind, though, if it doesn't unlock at the beginning of that wave, finish it out, and it might lock on 11. I think Koosh Moose had a couple lock when he hit Wave 11 for some reason. Let me give you some tips. You can adjust the difficulty, of course, to Cadet, and the wave intensity to match however many players you wish. So it is initially set at default, so if there's 4 people, that will default to 4 people. Well, you can override that and set it down to 1 player, which means the 4 of you will attack what is intended for just 1 person. That is a significantly lower zombie count. Doesn't make it any necessarily less difficult, but it certainly makes life less aggravating. As far as gameplay, the buddy system works well. You clean up the scrubs, stay moving when the big bads and armored dudes show up, and finally, suicide bombers and snipers are super annoying, so take them out quick. Special thanks to developer and publisher Rebellion. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for an achievement sponsor, let us know. Twitter and email are best, but you can come chat with us over at our community at Discord, discord.me/Z2Z. So, let's get on with the show and introduce my co-host. All right, another fantastic Friday. We've got a podcast record, and it's another 2-man show. But with all the fun announcements heading into E3, who could I get that would absolutely bring this show to an exciting venue? It would be Randy. How are you doing, Randy?
We're talking about E3.
Just a little bit.
It's always a rainy time of year.
Just a little bit.
But actually, though, I'm in pretty good mood today because I got excited about something today, and that doesn't happen very often.
Wow, I'm really interested in hearing what that is. Because you're right, that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen very, and I wasn't disappointed, at least not yet. We'll see if that changes. So I got home from work today, and what do I see on my doorstep but a big book-sized package? And that means my commercial lighting book from 1995 arrived.
Oh, that was that $8 buy you weren't sure about?
$8, and man, it is like, so I caved. I think I bought it the day after we recorded, because I was like, what am I thinking? It's $8. This is going to be a fantastic book. So I got the book. I paid a little bit extra, and I got one with a proper dust cover.
Oh, okay.
And man, it's like brand new. Like seriously, untouched throughout. $8.
And who wrote the foreword in that? Is that legendary 90s architecture design?
Funny thing is, the guy I looked the guy up, and he's still doing commercial lighting. Like he's like some famous commercial lighting guy, I guess. I don't know. But no, the book is actually really cool. I mean, I haven't read a lot of it yet, but
Well, you want to savor it, right?
yeah, kind of. And
you know.
I was playing a game, and you got to be in the zone.
Yeah, sure.
So I read the first intro about different bulbs or lamps, as they're called in commercial lighting, I guess. They call them lamps instead of light bulbs.
Makes sense.
Like the common folks. But no, it's actually way better than I expected, because it's got it has some information like a textbook, but it's got a ton of pictures, and then all the pictures have little descriptions on them, and they also say where they were taken and where this building is, and it's separated by I don't know what you call it, like, I don't know, category of buildings. So there's like restaurants, there's like movie theaters,
Sure.
There's and it's like 200 pages full of awesome pictures and descriptions, which is cool. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to look up these places and see if any of them still exist in 90s form, which they probably don't, which is a shame, because like it's not. And I was surprised too, because right away I really liked it. Not ironically, like there was some of the stuff in there that was just cool design in general.
Right.
So right. I really like that. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be assembling a library of 90s design now, because this book got me hooked. And man, are those books cheap? Like they're dirt cheap. You basically just pay shipping. Yeah. So
I just don't.
I like it.
I just don't understand you sometimes.
I'm gonna have the largest library of 90s design books in the world.
Yeah, you can
One
open up
day.
your own library.
Yeah, and that, when somebody wants to consult making like a 90s scene in a movie, who do they call? They call me, because I got the biggest library in the world.
Nice. Well, there you go. Fantastic.
That could be my job. I mean, yeah. That's my job now.
Now, is that
I've
your
decided.
win of the week? Is how amazing that was? Is that your win of the week, or have you
probably.
done some gaming related wins?
Not really. I've been gaming, but it's just not really been that exciting. Well, I don't know. We'll double dip. Mostly the book, because I got excited about the book, but I did complete Vaccine. Finally.
Oh, yeah.
So
Nice.
I think I figured out the trick to Vaccine.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, it's random, so I'm not sure. But it seems like if you don't activate the laser boxes to like win the game, the house stays smaller. So it seems like every one of like the further you progress in the story,
Sure.
to try and actually complete the house versus loop it, seems like you are more likely to get a big house that you're not going to be able to solve in time. So tip for anyone out there. Also, I learned that keys persist between loops. So if you manage to get a loop where you didn't have to use either of the keys and you found both of them, you can carry them through to your next play and not have to look for the invisible keys in the next playthrough, which can save you a lot of grief. So I actually got it. I think I only had to play like 2 more attempts. So I got really close. Not really close, but it was a good run. One evening this week, and then I got mad at it and I stopped playing. And then the next day I came home from work and I did another run and I got it first try. So I was pretty happy about that. I almost managed to not only loop the house to get all the achievements, but actually complete the game on that same run. But
Cool.
I ended up having to restart. So
Okay.
because it gets down to like, once you're down to like 7 minutes, that's tough.
Huh.
It's tough. So yeah, so Vaccine is done. I'm happy about that because, as we said, it's a bad game.
That's cool.
I don't have to play it anymore.
I looked terrible. I mean, just god awful.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard Randy's review, you should listen to the Review Z segment
And
for
we
Vaccine.
do have a stream. We're recording of our stream that we did, our Shovelware Cemetery. First attempt at Shovelware Cemetery live on our YouTube channel.
They're perfect. Multiple places to check that out. So I highly recommend that you do that. It would be great. My win of the week is kind of dumb, but it was something I've been chipping at all month. And now it's not difficult, but it's in the game Boggle. You need to get to Diamond League, right? Where you need to rank up and get up to the Diamond League. and it was on my random to-do list. So what I've been doing is, if I'm waiting for something to download or I'm doing something meaningless, like I'll play a few games of Boggle. Now, of course, I'm not playing Boggle in the traditional sense. If you look at the TA guide or the walkthrough, you simply turn on the special tiles, you turn on the bonus tile, and you turn on the word list. And so you're literally just trying to find every single word that's possible. And they start, with like AAH, and then, they go all the way down to whatever the last possible word is. And so you're simply just executing a series of, so there's no challenge to it. It's just long, time-consuming, and annoying. But it takes a while to rank up. I don't know how many games it takes. It really depends on how the tiles are laid out, like what the letters you have are, because you got to get all those points. So what I've been doing is, because I have to wake up early to go to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I got to wake up at like 4 a.m. so I can have breakfast, because I don't want to work out on an empty stomach. And then if I eat breakfast too close, I'm going to puke. So you got to find that middle ground. And so I give myself like 10 to 15 minutes those mornings, in addition to other nights where I've been chipping away at it. I finally got it this week before one of the workouts. So I got my random to-do list Boggle achievement. Now I have to...
For some reason, I thought Boggle was like a 1 hour completion. Is that Scrabble?
It is Scrabble. Yes,
okay.
That is. I also thought Boggle was an easy completion. It is not. It is long, arduous, and so unbelievably time-consuming. What I do need is, I don't need one, but it would be great to have a boosting partner because you need to play 500 online games. You need to play 500 games, win 100 of them. But really, while you're doing that, because you need to still like unlock like 8,000 4-letter words and 6,000 5-letter words, and and they keep going. It's actually not too hard to get 80 8-letter words, because if you're going for the a billion 4-letter words, like that just happens. So I'm looking at my ticker, my little achievement trackers, right? I put those up. It's gonna be a long grind. that is a lot of words that you need to find, and so play the online games, finish those off. Now, one recommendation, if you do Boggle, is to follow the walkthrough. They do a great job, but there are some glitches. If you try to do the online games first, they don't count toward your Diamond League ranking and stuff, so you have to keep playing. Whereas, so do the Diamond League stuff first. Do all the first player stuff first. Then go into the online boosting and stuff. So kind of set your stage up to get to that point. So if you're going to play Boggle at some point, do the Diamond League achievement first so that there's no glitching on your multiplayer achievements. Just a piece of advice. We'll kind of move into topics news, but we also have another win of the week mentioned. You heard at the end of last show, the UK group of Titanfallers all collectively got their 360 completions. I don't know when that was, Monday or whatever it was. They all unlocked Gen 10 at the same time, so congratulations to that crew. I think it was, we got Buck Marley, Angel, SK, Tatey, McLovin, and, oh crap. How did I forget this last one? Who am I missing? Mr. Costi. There we go. Right? I think those are the 5. Nice work, everyone.
Obviously, they cheated.
That was that's pretty darn good. They did it in 3 months. That's quite a stretch for that. So, I worked on Titanfall this week. I got my Frontier Defense stuff done, and I did some solo action. Since we do our normal Thursday night session, but I also did some stuff by myself, just trying to, because no one wants to play Hardpoint with me, so I got to play Hardpoint by myself. Anyway, there's a bunch of big news topics that happened this week. So let's start with the first one. Microsoft has changed the name of Beam. They changed it to Mixer. Why? How do you feel about that, Randy?
Well, I hope they're positioning it as a gaming dating website or something, because that's what it sounds like.
Well, did you
read?
Or
like a Yeah, like it sounds like a dating app.
It does. Like, and so did you read
even if it was like an audio thing, it's still like, I don't know, would you call...
Oh, it's absolutely not an audio thing.
No,
so,
I know, but I'm even thinking that, like, if it was like some kind of audio mixing software, like, I don't even know if you would call that Mixer.
Yeah, no, even in the actual news brief here, and they again, it's not. So it's one of the co-founders, wrote this, quote unquote, wrote this, right? It's a PR thing, but anyway, I'll read a direct quote here. Here it starts. Why the name change? Well, it was a tough decision and not one that we made lightly, but it was something we had decided on as a team. We believe so much power in the platform and wanted to grow in every major market around the world. Unfortunately, it wasn't something we could do with the Beam name. We chose Mixer as our new name because it represents what we love most about the service, how it brings people together. Like, oh my God.
And it's like, and you didn't have a name better than Mixer. It's
That's
like the
what
Xbox One. It's like, you seriously, like, you couldn't think of a better name than Xbox One.
That's the thing. And when I talked about
like
this in the
Microsoft
Discord chat, like, do you have a focus group?
Things.
They need a focus group.
They need, like, you have all this money, all the, like, tons of money behind you. Just stop naming things. Just hire some outside company to name stuff for you, because you cannot do it.
Yeah.
Like,
now,
it just, clearly, it's like, oh, we have all these things. Let's call it Xbox One, like all those 10 other things that call themselves One. Like, no, that's
it's the,
dumb.
the third iteration, so let's call it the One.
We'll call it One. That's original. Nobody's done that before.
Because then when we move to then what's your next game? Is it the 2? Is it the 1, 2?
We'll call it the
it's
Super.
like, oh my God, you got to be freaking. Yeah, I agree.
We'll call it the Xbox Super.
And now we have Mixer.
And now we're in that dilemma.
So ultimately,
Mixer.
What we're hearing is the reason to the change is that there's some legal issues with other countries. The Beam name had a trademark or something in some other locale that prevented some of this. So they needed to change the name. Totally agree. Name is terrible, but the new features and stuff that they roll out with really, cool stuff.
That being said,
really jacked this thing up.
4 people streaming at the same time, that's cool.
Yeah.
Which would be great for future shovelware cemeteries in games that maybe we're both playing.
Absolutely.
I wanted that for a long time, and I was trying to figure out, like, man, like, how can you do that? Because I know you can do that with OBS. Like, you can have multiple inputs, but that assumes both people are, connected to that one computer somehow. So that's cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing amazing that they're doing here, like, that hasn't been done with other things. But what it does is it makes it all way more accessible to just to, like, me, right? I'm not very savvy on my computer, so I'm not gonna be able to set up a green screen and do all that. And it's like, this will actually just let me broadcast, and I can hook up with other people, and it's all through my Xbox. I don't have to be crazy tech savvy to do this.
The other thing too is, like, I mean, you can broadcast 2 screens, but I mean, you have to have 2 screens side by side, like, in your house with 2 capture cards plugged in your computer going at the same time. So it's like, you could do it before, but not easily. And I think the Beam / Mixer tech is way, way, way ahead of Twitch. Like, it's so much smoother.
Yeah. I love the low latency.
Even just having streamed once, like, streaming on Twitch I always thought it was just such a chore.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like, it's slow, it's laggy, it's like,
and I kind of like their landing page, like, that they've always got something playing, like, you just kind of see.
Well, Twitch kind of does too, but it's like, it's not obnoxious. Like, it's there. Yeah. But everything else is there too, and, like, it's quick, and it's easy to find everything. Like, Twitch, I'm always like, maybe it's because I just don't use it that often, but I'm always like digging through stuff and, like, finding games. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really big into the streaming scene anyway, but I just don't think... I think Twitch was kind of that, like, first to make it big, and kind of just... because they're so big, they just didn't have to do anything to improve, and they still don't because they're humongous. Yeah. And everybody uses Twitch, but it'd be nice if this could become a real competitor, because, honestly, it seems a whole lot better to me.
Well, and I mean, in the nature of competition, right? I mean, you got YouTube and Twitch. You know, if you
YouTube streaming is not even like,
you know, if you get more players involved, then that just benefits the consumer because you have to continue to innovate. You continue to push. You know, if it's somebody running away with it, I mean, we're looking
unless all the big players just get into bed together and then.
Well, exactly. Like, I think we can all sing the praises of how much we love Comcast, right? Like, yes, they're doing a real great job.
Perfect example of that. Yes, competition,
right? That is just garbage.
It was funny. We were just talking before the show. I'm doing my health and life insurance certification. And I have to take a course for that. And it was funny because the course is like super skewed to like private insurance companies' point of view.
Sure.
Of course. So it's really funny, just like some of the things they say. So there's one that's like, oh, well, this law was passed to increase competition among financial institutions by letting them merge and become bigger. Yeah, create competition.
Yeah, because
sure,
only good things happen when one person accumulates all the power.
Yeah, when you go from 20 institutions to 3.
Yeah, everything gets better. I get that. Yeah. So anyway, you know, so I hope that's the case. And I also don't typically watch streams that much. You know, occasionally. Here's the other thing I like about Beam. Is I'm pretty sure my work ISP doesn't know that it's a gaming site, so they haven't blocked it.
Especially now that it has a new URL.
Right, so I can actually watch, you know, so I'll be at my desk doing whatever, and it's like I'll turn on, you know, Player Unknown Battlegrounds and just kind of watch some of those matches every now and again, and like, you know, just for funsies. Because that's one of those games like I have absolutely no interest in playing, but man, it's really intriguing. So anyway,
I don't know. I used to watch streams like when I played Rock Band a lot, but I don't know. It just doesn't grab me that much most of the time, unless it's like a company or something that and even then it has to be something I'm pretty interested in.
Yeah,
is doing like, you know, a specific thing. But agreed. I mean, I get it. Like I get the appeal because like I used to watch streams, and if I was really into one game, I would probably watch streams a little more. But I'd just rather be playing usually.
Right. Right. So I do want to make a quick kind of detour here and just say that, you know, our thoughts and prayers are out to everyone who is involved in the Manchester, you know, the bombings. Anyone who lives out in that area, you know, stay safe. I hope everything is okay with friends, family, people you know. That was a huge story that rocked the world last week, and you know, again, it's the ridiculously horrible thing that happened. So some of the things that have happened precipitated because of that was Bandai Namco has actually postponed their game Get Even in lieu of that event. Is that they didn't think it was the appropriate time to launch this. It's kind of like a revenge shooter. This game with like a heavy, it's like psychological horror. It's an intense game, and kudos to Bandai Namco for just saying, hey, you know what, you're right. This is not the right time to be promoting violence, glorifying it. You know, let's take a step back and look at the horrors that are precipitating and just give this a moment. This will come out, and they're postponing it till late June, I think. But so if you're looking for that game, it's coming. It's ready. It's good to go. They just, you know, thought better of it to wait, which I appreciate. So great on that. A game that
let's just hope. I'm gonna have to rain on this a little. Let's just hope that's the actual reason they're delaying it.
I'm sure it is,
and they're not using that as an excuse to delay it for another month to fix something.
I'd like to think that that's not the case. That's super
I
cynical.
I think so too, but I mean. Rain cloud perspective, just
now. Well, here's a delay that shocked the world. Was Red Dead Redemption 2 is now pushed back into spring of 2018. Strauss Zelnick said, "Hey, they had an earnings call, and they're like, look, we want to deliver the absolute best game that we can, and so here's the date, and this is."
I Isn't that a given with Rockstar? Like, wasn't GTA 4 delayed for like 3 years or something?
Multiple times, yeah. And let's not forget the box art that says they had online multiplayer that didn't show up for a year or whatever. Like,
wait, what? I didn't see that. What was that?
On GTA 5, that when they launched the game.
Oh yeah,
GTA Online,
yeah,
and it didn't happen
I
until
do remember that. Yeah,
until like 11 months later or something.
No, it wasn't that long.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 4 or 5 months. But
I don't know. It felt like a long time.
yeah.
So he's like, hey, we're building a new game from the ground up. First time, new generation consoles, and the pressure we put on ourselves to deliver excellence and the delight of consumers is extraordinary. He has quite the way with words, that Strauss-Zelnick. He says, we want to make sure we give the appropriate time and to take in and do the very best job we can. That's what the consumers expect of a Rockstar game, and that's what Rockstar games typically deliver. So we support emphatically the label's decision, and we are utterly confident that it will prove in time to be the wise, first and foremost, creatively and artistically, as well as economically. So there you have it. So sometime it's supposed to launch before April, fiscal year 2019 is what they're saying. So that means April of 2018 and March of 2019. So that's even longer. That's even a bigger potential delay when they say spring. So I wonder if they're going for the original Red Dead launch date, because wasn't that in end of May, early June or something?
I don't remember.
I think it was.
Because I didn't play Red Dead Redemption at launch. It wasn't until a couple years later that I really got into it.
I didn't either, actually. So, but maybe they're trying to capitalize and spread that out a little bit, like just stake the ground where there absolutely is no other competition, and just say, hey, you know what, we're gonna, if you don't mind, everyone in the gaming industry, we're just gonna own summer. Boom. Here's our game.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with them doing that if that's the real reason. When a game gets delayed 6 times, there's a problem. When a game gets delayed once, it's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
So if that's what it takes to make it good, then that's what it takes. Delay it. Don't rush it out and have it be a mess like every other AAA game that comes out now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think just the amount of polish that's going to go onto this. Like, I'm curious at what point, I mean, are they like essentially done in July with the game, and they're like, all right, you know what, we're going to spend the next year polishing it, just like
I wouldn't be surprised.
I could honestly see Rockstar doing that
with the quality and detail of these games. Like, it's unreal. Like, and think of it, like, has this game been in development for like 8 years? Could be.
Something like that.
I'm sure
at
they've
least
been
6.
at least planning it since the first Red Dead, or since the second Red Dead,
right.
Red Dead Redemption,
right?
So that would be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. So final news topic that we should touch on here: Far Cry 5. The announcement came out, and so let's set the stage with the teasers, that precipitated. And I thought
you forgot the beginning. It's Tom Clancy's Far Cry 5.
Yeah. So
Watch Dogs.
So we'll lead into that, Randy. I'll give you your chance. We see the box art image, and it's iconic imagery of a representation of the Last Supper. So if you're familiar with the painting of Jesus with his disciples, the Last Supper. Well, so this has the main character, like all Far Cry games, sitting predominantly in the middle. It looks like a nefarious individual. And the characters around him are posed exactly like the people at the Last Supper, and so it's this wonderfully iconic imagery. There's weapons all over the place. There is a half-naked man with the word "sinner" written on his back, and so you're like, oh, okay, very intriguing. And then you see the first trailer, and they introduce a location, Hope County, Montana, and I had always watched that trailer with the sound off. And I saw people up in the bell tower, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, are they doing some sort of ritual or whatever? And then I played it with the sound on. I'm like, oh, they're using the guy's head to ring the bell. They're smashing his face into the bell. Okay. This is, that's horribly violent. But now I'm okay. I'm getting it. I'm feeling the vibe here. Okay, so what's the announcement trailer like? Well, there's a series of videos that I watched, and look, it looks like a Far Cry game. I mean, that's really what it is. But then I started watching all these vignettes of like these other people who are kind of your helpers, and they all are kind of the same. Like, hey, I'm really sick of this. We got to rise up and revolt. And now I'm, just normal person, and now I'm a warrior, and so you got all these people helping you, and then you watch the gameplay. Well, Randy, how would you describe the gameplay?
Tom Clancy's Far Cry 5.
Wildlands.
Right.
Montana edition.
This is Ghost Recon Wildlands in first person with the Far Cry name stuck on it. Like the description. So I didn't watch the trailers, but I read the kind of description, I guess, like the press release or something. So I don't usually watch that. I usually read the articles. And they described Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's like you've got the things like, oh, will you like recapture parts of the territory, and like, and you've got like your people, your like squad of helpers with you, and you can play it in co-op, and it's like, so you reskin Ghost Recon Wildlands. They stopped reskinning Far Cry 3, and now they're just reskinning Ghost Recon Wildlands. And there was probably a reskin of The Division. So good job, Ubisoft. You're still recycling all of your old assets.
Yeah,
this is the
remarkable.
Same empty open world game with a new skin. I was actually kind of a little bit excited. I thought that setting was interesting. I just saw the box art. I was like, that's cool. The kind of take on the Last Supper.
Yeah.
Painting was cool. And then it's just, it's this game again. So,
and
thumbs down from me.
Just on the start there. And here's
Big
the thing,
thumbs
like,
down.
okay, so the game's launching February 27th, right? So essentially the same time at it just falls into your play. Like, it's the year after Ghost Recon Wildlands launched. Like, it is now the new annual franchise. Is
Ghost Recon Wildlands with a different name and a different skin.
Right, America version.
Yeah, we had Mexico version last year. We've got America version this year. Maybe we'll get Canada up north version next year or something.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what Ubisoft does.
Right.
And it works brilliantly. Like, I'll give it to them as a business, genius. For the consumer and the game industry, terrible. But it's like, seriously, they're selling you the same thing with a new skin on it. But see, the characters and the location is different enough that people don't notice.
Yeah.
That's what they've got going, where it's not like, okay, we're doing Call of Duty every year where it's like the same, like really it's the same game. No, like it's mostly the same game. We'll just cover it up a little bit. But was it Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal that were actually the same map?
Yes.
Somebody had compared them, like the mountains, the lake. Like, I think they raised the mountains and lowered the lakes a little bit. And it was, other than that, it was exactly the same.
Yes, they are.
Like, they were in, like,
nearly identical.
Map over top of map, they were the same. Which was just blew my mind. Like, I knew they were lazy. Come on. Like, that's bad.
That is pretty bad.
So, I don't know. Maybe
So what
I hope somebody
checks. Go ahead.
Ghost Recon Wildlands and Far Cry Wildlands to see if they're on the same map.
Yeah. So let me just flip it a little positivity here. Is they still can tell a compelling story, and that would be their saving grace. Is because really the Wildlands is more about the cooperative experience, relatively monotonous gameplay from what I understand, and that it's not terribly compelling to actually play out the story because you're actually just playing the co-op, and that's the best part. This, they have at least. Far Cry typically can generate a really interesting villain, an antagonist. And from what I've seen so far, it's at least serving that up to enough where I'm intrigued by this doomsday cult religious leader guy that this very well could be interesting, and they can do some really neat things. Now, you look at, and again, it's a splash trailer, so right, they want you to be excited about the gameplay and the excitements and all that stuff, and so it's like
the Lie Engine trailer,
constant explosions and just all these crazy bombastic set pieces, and here's all this horrible stuff, and it's like, okay, that's fine, I get why you're doing that, but will there be this like nicely woven narrative in there? Can you pull those story elements together that are compelling? That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Again, it's gonna just be a reskinned Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy, Wildlands, Splinter Cell. So I don't know. Just you pick whatever. The final thing we have to mention is, and so the two of us watched Randall Thor 19's YouTube video, and he was talking about all the outrage, and I hadn't heard about the outrage. I had assumed
I hadn't heard about the outrage either. It doesn't surprise me.
No, I had assumed what you were talking about, Randy, was the same thing, that it looked like Ghost Recon Wildlands, and so I thought that was the outrage. And so he pulls up a tweet where an individual is not happy because this is the anti-white game, and look at the villain here. He's a white guy, and I will not play this game. And that's horrible. Expletive. The world. This sucks. Why do you hate white people, Ubisoft?
So it's okay to kill the Asian people,
yeah,
and the island people,
and the Pacific Islanders.
Far Cry
they're
3,
totally
but,
okay.
I mean, they're island people. They're fine.
Yeah,
killing white people in America. Nope.
I draw the line. These bearded men.
That's racist.
Yep. Because I even mentioned in the chat, I'm like, "Hey, Saucy Slingo, they got your family here," and come on. It's a villain in a video game. I have to agree with Randall Thor on this. Like, you guys, settle down.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway.
Ridiculous.
We'll have to see. I'm sure there'll be a ton of information at E3. Again, this launches in February. At the end of February. I am excited to hear your report card, Randy, on how this plays out.
Oh, this is triple F minus Tom Clancy's Far Cry 5 Wildlands edition.
Yeah.
I'm already calling it, and just do me triple F minus.
Perfect. All right, let's move into listener feedback. We've got a bunch of questions here. We'll start with Kingsman2625. He says, "Hey, hello, everyone. Thanks for putting together a fantastic quality podcast each week. It is an absolute must-listen to all achievement hunters, so thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, you guys have been talking a lot about video games made into movies and vice versa, so my question is this. Is there a movie or TV series that you would like to see made into a video game or redo as an existing game? And how would you choose to have that game play? Is it open world? Is it survival? Is it a platformer? And kind of what would the achievements look like?" He said, "No Telltale style games." His suggestion is, I have no idea why, but he'd like to see a semi-open world Scooby-Doo horror mystery game, where the hub world branches out to the different mysteries that they would solve, like a Scooby-Doo stylized Layers of Fear type game, where you can swap between characters and they have different abilities. The achievements would be titled like "Ruh-roh, accuse an innocent bystander." And
there was actually
one Raggy.
It's not quite up to that level of detail, but on the Super Nintendo, there actually was a Scooby-Doo game.
Was there really?
That was actually kind of like that. I mean, I think it had some platforming, but like you basically went around and avoided the bad guys and found clues.
Sure.
And solved the mystery. I remember it being really hard because I had it.
I bet.
Still have it.
I mean, I think
that's what I remember of it. It was good though. Like, it was good for what it was.
The first thing that comes to mind under the Scooby-Doo style game is Maniac Mansion. That you just have one of those classic, or Thimbleweed Park, where you just have the Scooby Gang doing a classic point-and-click adventure where, they each have their, Scooby can, sniff out a trail, and Shaggy can eat his body weight in food, so that, that might come in handy. Or Velma is good at math or something, I don't know.
That would work well, I think.
Yeah. So
could have some good puzzles going with that.
But that's not his question. Not how do we make a great Scooby-Doo game? His question is, what, is there a movie or TV series that you want to see made into a video game? I actually would like, so I'm gonna go to my favorite book of all time, and I don't want to do the movie because when we talked about this in chat, and I don't care for the movie, World War Z. So take the movie out of it. So all of you have seen the movie. That is nothing like the book. The book actually reads as a collection of, at the beginning of the book, it is, so Brad Pitt's character, right? He's this UN agent, and he's supposed to go out and interview people who survived the zombie apocalypse and talk about how did they survive, what happened, what was going on in the world. And he put together all these stories. Again, this is at the beginning of the World War Z book, kind of the foreword. And he's like, submitted it to Congress to say, okay, this is what happened. Here's kind of a bunch of stories of all the people, the survivors, and everything that went on. And Congress was like, I don't want this crap. I literally want the details as to what happened, what was effective, how much money did it cost. Like, that's what I want to know. And so in book world, the author takes these and is like, well, no, these stories need to be told. Like, these are cool stories. And so they then live through, it's a series of kind of small snippets, small story segments as they precipitate through the apocalypse and the subsequent cleanup of the world and whatnot. I think that would be a fun game because you'd have all these different sections of game, and so there's a story for there's an individual in China who happens to be blind, and he escaped up into a mountain pass, and he had I think he had a bow staff with him. And so his walking cane, yeah, that's what it was. His hiking walking cane. And so he lived in the mountains as a blind man, but because the terrain is so difficult for zombies to maneuver, he can hear them well, and he just honed his craft on being able to use that bow staff to smash him in the face and stuff. And so okay, there's a cool, stealthy survival game, but you could do stuff with, maybe you wouldn't play the blind angle, but there was one where a dude had to escape a hotel. He was up in the high floors of the hotel, and so he had to climb down. He ended up climbing out the window. There was stuff about how people survived out to sea. They would find boats, derelict boats, or zombies floating around in the water. And there's always just really different areas and events, and you could just play small little action segments related to these different stories, and they could all have varying gameplay elements. Once you get to the military fight back, that could be a kind of first-person shooter elements. You could have stealth elements. You could have point-and-click elements. You could have all sorts of things. It could be this gigantic cornucopia of a game that I think would be sweet. That sounds like it
would make a really good episodic game.
Be fun. That's what I want.
You could have little 2-3 hour episodes once a month for a year.
Yeah. So that's what I want. Cool. I want World War Z, the book, the game, not the movie. That's in parentheses, not the movie.
I don't watch enough TV though, or movies. Goosebumps. Could do more Goosebumps.
More Goosebumps games?
I mean, there was already a Goosebumps game and it was great.
Yeah, that was fun.
I don't know. Maybe you could do Breaking Bad. I don't know how that would work. But that seems like it could maybe work.
As a game? See, that's the thing. Yeah. With no Telltale, you have to think of gameplay elements or shows that have...
Because TV is so story-driven.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you could do... I don't know. I'm just trying to think how that would work. But that's the only thing that comes to mind that is a show that I've watched enough to really get into and go all the way through, that hasn't already been turned into a game, that might possibly make a good game. But I mean, what would you do as a management game? Would you do
it'd be
action game?
To me, it sounds like GTA 5. It sounds like GTA Online, where you have a huge open world and you're trying to, you're trying to manage your meth business.
Follow the story of the show.
Well, maybe it'd be like Mafia 3, where like there are the story beats, but you independently can do other things. Maybe,
yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Like, a combination of action and management. So like you have to manage your business, but also do the dirty work yourself, kind of thing. Or like, hey, you have multiple characters like GTA. I don't know.
Well, and you can't
Might
forget
work.
the cooking meth mini game.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
That would be, the gem where you got to like jiggle the analog stick to make sure you're cooking it evenly enough, right? And just you got to slowly pull the trigger to add the correct amount of chemicals through the top.
That would actually be awesome. And then it could, if you do it poorly enough, it blows up in your
just blows
face.
up,
And
yeah.
Game over.
Game over. There you go.
Hey, that could work, I think. That's the only thing that comes to mind. I mean, you could have like my other favorite shows. I love Portlandia. I love that show. I don't know how you turn that into a game. I don't think it would work.
I don't either. Yeah,
don't
I'm a
think-
huge fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine right now. Like I think it's the funniest show on television. But yeah, I can't. I can't
You
imagine
can't
that
really
works.
turn a comedy show into a.
You know what I've been
game, I don't
watching
think.
is Harmon Quest, which is it's essentially it's D&D, right? And it's just they animate D&D like their game, and it's with a bunch of comedians, so they're very funny. But you could have a comedic D&D type game, a role playing game.
Yeah, but I mean that's a. I mean, you
it's
can have a
essentially
comedy
South Park,
game,
you know.
but you can't have like a. It would be very hard to turn a comedy show into a comedy game,
Right.
unless it's South Park, which is basically just playing an episode of South Park.
Right. Exactly.
Where you can make a satirical game, or have a comedic game that's built to be funny. But
Yeah.
I don't think you can translate the funny into a game and have it still be funny.
Right.
But
Okay.
I don't
Let's
know.
move
That's
on
my,
to
that's my answer for now. Anyway, I don't know what the Scooby-Doo game on Super Nintendo is called, but if you want to play Scooby-Doo game, you might want to check it out.
Absolutely. We got a question from Foo Cuddly Poof. He says, hey, an idea for discussion on the podcast is the MFK, and of course, the F is an inappropriate word, so I've changed it. He said, the rules are simple, or similar. You pick one game for each of the three letters, but there's a twist. M is the main game that you get to play all the time. And I've changed the letter to S. S is single playthrough. You only get to play this one time per year. A single time. And K is kick it to the curb. You never get to play that game again, and all achievements and stacks you've earned so far are gonskis. And so Fufu has given us our trifecta, our triumvirate of games to pick from. And so, Crandy, your choices are
This would kill me all week.
Earthworm Jim, Sonic CD, and Rock Band. So what is your main game?
Main game is obviously going to be Rock Band. I mean, as much as I rip on Rock Band, the replayability is basically infinite. So Rock Band. Now, Earthworm Jim and Sonic CD is really tough because I like to play Sonic CD about once a year.
Okay.
But Earthworm Jim is great. So I think I'm gonna have to go Rock Band as my main game, Sonic CD once a year, and unfortunately have to kill off Earthworm Jim. This is a tough pick.
That was a great selection of games by Fufu.
What
I love is that he's actually listening to the show and like understands.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get it. This is a good 3 for this.
Yep, because mine equally as good. Destiny, State of Decay, and XCOM. And I think that's my order. I think my main game would be Destiny. This could all change with State of Decay 2, but my main game would be Destiny just because of the mechanics and the replayability and that loot grab that's there. I think that would be an easy main game. Single playthrough I'm going to have to go with State of Decay. I need to at least play that game. And as much as I love XCOM, like that has to be on my list. And then XCOM has to get kicked to the curb, which it pains me because I love that game and I love the how that plays out, but I just can't justify not playing that, like playing State of Decay, because is absolutely everything I want in a game. His list for, and we'll have to hear from Tarragon and Prue, and I created a list for Joe, which I can actually read hers here. But so Tarragon's picks, his list is Elite Dangerous, the Batman Arkham series, or the Dead Rising series. And so I'm curious what Tarragon picks on those. And Prue has Rocket League, the Pokemon series, or the Halo series, and what he needs to do.
That's a tough one.
And then I came up with one for Angel SK, Joe, and she wrote back and gave me her answer. So I gave her the Lego series, all Lego games, couldn't play. Mass Effect series, she couldn't play, or the Artifex Mundi series. And so she came back with that she's going to main Lego because
I love everyone's response to this dilemma. Yeah. These dilemmas are great.
So her response is going to main Lego just because there's so many of them that she'll have an abundance of different games to play, and she likes Lego so much. She's going to single play through Mass Effect because she loves the original and wants to at least be able to play that series at some point once a year. And then is kicking Artifex Mundi to the curb and says only after protest will she get rid of it. But because she loves Artifex Mundi games, she is protesting that she will never get to play one again. But there you have it. So I'm curious about Prue and Tarragon's response to that one. Awesome question, Fufu. That was superb.
We also had another comment from Fufu about Pepsi Fire.
Yes,
and it wasn't just him. It was
there were many people who said, "Fream, ask
Pepsi
Randy."
Fire was on fire in chat today.
It was.
I don't know where everybody just went out and got him or something. Pepsi should seriously sponsor this podcast because we talk a lot. We talk a lot about Pepsi, and we get a lot of people to buy a lot of Pepsi.
My niece picked one up the other day, too. She's like, oh, I got Pepsi Fire. And I'm like, I've heard subpar things, but I can't officially make a comment because I haven't tried it. And I need to hear.
Did you try it?
I need to hear Randy's review before I really make my purchasing decision.
So I've been looking out for it all week, and I've just found it today. Found it at CVS for anyone trying to find it. I've had good luck with CVS and the new flavors. I don't know, maybe that's just here. Anyway, so it is a cinnamon cola. That's what they call it. Pretty much just tastes like cinnamon. There's very little cola taste to be had because the cinnamon is so strong. It has a lot of sugar in it, but it's not particularly sweet because it has so much cinnamon.
Huh.
So really it's a cinnamon drink, and it's not even. I like cinnamon, and it's not really that good. It's not bad. Okay. I wouldn't call it bad, but it is very, very spicy. And
is it refreshing at all? Do you enjoy drinking it, or is it too spicy?
I don't know, but I really like spicy, so it's tough. But let's put it this way: I probably won't be buying another one.
Okay.
So I like the one I had, and it's not bad. It's just that if I'm gonna drink a soda, there are better ones to have than that.
Yeah.
So I'd pick a regular Pepsi over that. I'd pick even the Freedom flavor of Mountain Dew that came out.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
That one, I had one of those too. So originally when people were posting, this was also being posted in chat, people were posting cases of it, and I was like, oh, well, what, do you just get like 3 or 4 of each or something? No, it's actually all 3 flavors mixed together.
Yeah, they just made a suicide on you. Swamp juice or whatever.
Swamp water for me. And it tastes like Rocket Pops. It actually tastes like rocket, so it's good. That one is really good. But Pepsi Fire is all right. It's not. I try one. It's not great. The 1893 grapefruit Pepsi though, that also Pepsi's going to town on the new flavors. That one is really good. It's weird. for like the first 2 sips. And once you get past it being weird, it's really good. So that one's good. I try one, like one.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say like go out and buy a case of it or something, because it's definitely not for everyone. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to like, I don't know, maybe mix drinks with it or something. I don't know.
Right.
I don't do that, so I don't know.
Okay. So
that's my take on Pepsi Fire.
So you're good for it. You're good for a 20 ounce. Everyone should try it, but don't buy a case of it.
Yeah, if you like cinnamon, try it. If you don't, you're not going to like it.
Perfect.
Because it is very, very
now
cinnamon.
What I'm curious about, and Fug mentioned it in the chat, is because typically to get cinnamon in your cola, you're adding Fireball, which is an adult beverage, of course. But I wonder, what does Fireball in Pepsi Fire taste like?
Whew.
Like, is that just too much fire, or does it cover it up?
Maybe it just tastes like Fireball.
Does it neutralize? I don't know.
It could just be the same.
I'm curious. We actually have a question like that. Cowboy Killer 360 asks, first he says, what are your thoughts about Sea of Thieves so far? I'll get to that. And he says, also, what's your favorite adult beverage? So Sea of Thieves, let me start there quick. And I mentioned this on previous shows. All of my experience has been on early alphas. And so everything I've played so far, I think I am on the newsletter now, and so they tell me all the updates that are happening in new betas or new alphas or whatever it is, the new alphas. But they're obviously in the UK, and so when they have their open alpha sessions to play in, like I'm always busy. I can't do it. It's in the middle of the day. And so so I haven't seen it, but I've seen some of the things they've added, like sharks and swimming, and they've improved combat and stuff. And so like you can listen to my early impressions. I think it was back in January or February when I made some comments on how it played out so far. But it was such an old build of the game that I have to replay it again to give you an honest, updated answer. I need to see the depth. The gameplay was fun enough, but there just wasn't enough depth when I played it. So, as far as adult beverage of choice, I've actually given up on drinking significantly. There was a time when I obviously in college or actually post college where swinging bachelor, out meeting girls, doing things like that, and I had this weakness for Red Bull vodkas, such a weakness that I actually every time drank them blacked out, and people would have to piece my memory back together. And so that was a very short period when I did that, because the negative side effects to my life were so heinous that I made some terrible, terrible life decisions during that like month-long phase. But boy, they tasted delicious. And in college, my favorite drink was so I'd take gin and I would mix it with Country Time lemonade mix. And so here's the beauty of that. So all of you college kids out there is so gin, if you're not familiar, tastes like pine needles. It is a very piney type taste. It is, especially the cheap stuff, right? I'm in college. I'm not going to buy the good stuff. I'm buying the cheap stuff. So we're not having Tanqueray or anything. I'm having like Steppenwolf. Anyway, so it tastes like pine salt and nobody likes it. So if you put enough Country Time lemonade mix in that, it just tastes like a delicious lemonade. It's so sweet and so sugary. Lemonade. Bingo. And here's the best part. You got a guy, somebody comes to your room and is like, hey, you guys got anything to pre-party with here? I'm like, well, no, I mean, I got some gin. I said, I think my neighbor across the street has vodka. Oh, vodka. Okay, yeah, I'm going over that way. Nobody wants to steal your stuff because they know gin tastes like garbage. So you get all of it for yourself. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant plan. Other than that, now the only thing I drink now that I'm an old geezer is I'm a white wine kind of guy because I like sweet. I have a sweet tooth. And so there's this wine out there. I think it's a Venezuelan wine. It's called New Age, and it's kind of a hybrid wine champagne. It's not quite as bubbly as champagne, but it does have kind of a zip to it. And it is sweet. It uses like the sweet part of the berries. Oh boy, I could take a bottle of that down, no problem. So those are my drinks. That's kind of where I fall. Not much of a red wine drinker. Occasionally you'll do the hard stuff, but I tend to get a little carried away. So
the blackouts.
Yeah, so we kind of stay away from that. And now that it's summer, I mean, you give me a hard cider like an Angry Orchard or a Reds or something, like, mow the lawn and have a hard cider, like, hell yeah, that's fantastic. Just because it goes down so easy. I used to drink a lot of summer shandy and those kind of like real light lemonade type beers, but I just again, now that I'm a healthy individual, I tend to stay away from that stuff. Randy, I can't imagine you actually drink anything. Do you partake at all in adult beverages?
I do not drink adult beverages.
So you just mainline heroin then as your kind of escape? Yeah, I got you.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I keep up with the rain.
Or, well, here I get, I'll answer for you, Randy. You just drink decade-old Crystal Pepsi.
Yes.
That's how you get your kicks.
I would if I'm not going to spend $80 on a Crystal Pepsi to drink.
Yeah,
I might spend $80 on a Crystal Pepsi to keep, but not to drink.
All right, we got a question here from Michael Used. He says, and this news came out, and I want to touch on it because, here's the question. PlayStation 4 Pro will not run Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second. It is only 30. So ultimately, the Scorpio will not run it at 60 FPS because Bungie and Activision said that they want to keep parity between the consoles and they want to have the same game, and so they're locking at 30, even though the Scorpio can do it at 60. PS4 Pro cannot. Says, how do you guys feel about that? Oh, boy.
So is this confirmed? Like, this was confirmed by Bungie?
This was confirmed. Yes, Bungie has tweeted out that this is the case, that they will not have a faster frame rate on the Scorpio, despite the Scorpio being able to. This launched a whole big discussion, that you would see tweets from Microsoft, like Mike Ybarra specifically, about their stance on the whole thing. And it's like, look, Microsoft's stance is, we can't tell the developers what to do with all the power of Scorpio. It's up to them. They make the game however they want. We're telling you Scorpio can run Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second. We're saying that can happen. What the developer chooses is totally up to them. And so Bungie, Activision has confirmed the game will run at 30 everywhere.
Sounds to me like Sony's paying someone a big chunk of money.
Big old fat check,
Big fat chunk of money. That's what that sounds like to me. Because what reason would you have to put that on? There's no reason.
No, absolutely not.
There is no reason other than Sony is paying Activision a huge amount of money to do that, or Activision is very concerned at losing that exclusive marketing money from Sony.
Yeah.
Which either way, it's a big chunk of money that is making Activision not do that, and intentionally make the Xbox version worse.
Yeah. So here,
I guess it's a matter of, is it a preventative thing? Like, we don't want to lose this deal with Sony, or is it really direct? Like, Sony paid us $10 million to do this.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be where it really comes down to for me, is like, okay, is this Activision consciously making this choice preemptively, or is this Sony going out of their way to, almost sabotage Microsoft on the Scorpio thing? To be honest, instead of keeping up, it's just like, oh, well, let's just do everything we can to make Scorpio fail so people will stick with the Pro.
But they are. I mean, that's literally what Sony is doing right now. Like,
well, I mean, that depends. That depends if Activision is doing this or Sony is doing this. Because if Activision is doing it to keep the Sony dollars, then I would say that is Activision doing this. If it's Sony directly paying Activision money and directly saying, we're going to pay you this extra money for you to limit Destiny 2 on the Scorpio to be the same as the PS4 Pro version.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be coming from Sony.
If it's the direct version, I think that is far, far worse than the indirect version. They're both bad.
Yeah. No, I feel like it is Sony, because you look at Sony, they not only have they gobbled up every big marketing deal, right? Now they're taking Xbox's marketing push for the Scorpio right now and putting it on all their marketing material. The PlayStation right now says the world's most powerful console. Like, I'm waiting for when the Scorpio is launched and they have to put asterisks next to all those, like, world's most powerful console as of April, April of 2017. Like, that if that marketing material still exists when the Scorpio comes out, then they have to make changes. They have to recall it all because that's no longer the case. And then they went ahead and they got Battlefront, they got Red Dead Redemption 2, they've got, granted these things are now sliding out of the fall, but all of the big releases, they can't. Nobody can mention Microsoft, even though the games will play better on Scorpio. That they potentially can play better, and in this instance, where Destiny could indeed be faster at 50 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Now they're saying no, you cannot do that. Have parity; they should be the same. That's bullcrap.
We've talked about this before, and we've heard kind of Phil Spencer's stance, but like, it's really getting to the point where like this is significant.
It is,
because Xbox has no games, has nothing coming out that's a big deal. Like, okay, you've got Forza 300, whatever. Like, you've got Gears of War 17, whatever. You've got Halo 1,000,000, whatever. Like, there's going to be a few people that already have Xboxes that care about those. You're not converting anyone at this point.
Yeah.
You've got nothing new coming out, but Crackdown 3, same thing. It's going to be people that had an Xbox and like Crackdown. You're not going to convert. I really don't think you're going to convert anyone with Crackdown 3.
I agree.
And other than Crackdown 3, there's nothing. Like, Sea of Thieves is not a console seller. It's probably going to be a good game for people that have groups of people to play with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be for everyone.
Well,
Cuphead,
if they can put in like some sort of crafting or some type of like persistence to Sea of Thieves, then maybe it's one of those long-term Minecraft things. Like, best case scenario, right? I mean, that's a huge,
and even
huge if.
Not going to be a console seller.
Not a console seller.
Because we've got Minecraft
not.
already. So, and now you've got no selling point in your console. You've got Sony taking over all the marketing money. They're taking over all these exclusive deals, getting stuff early. What's the point of having an Xbox?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I get that stance, and I would really like to stand behind it, because I hate that there's these dollars going to this dumb cause of just like, we're just going to pay a bunch of money so we can put our name at the end of it.
Yep.
Like, I think that's dumb. It's a waste of money.
Agreed.
But it's...
But not if it's effective.
But it is effective, and that's a thing, and that's something you're going to have to do in the like.
Yeah.
When you're the number one and number two fighting each other, if one person just refuses to do it, you're not going to change the other guy. You're just going to die.
Yep.
So I mean, it becomes a cost of keeping up, and it's really getting to the point where it's like, I think it's going to have some serious impact, because it's not like there's any new deals you can sign, because there's not a lot of AAA stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And because, really, like, our AAA like stuff now is few and far between, and Sony's got all of it.
Right. No, and it's funny because what I'm reminded of like 3 such events where this has happened, and I don't want to mess up the names, but the most prominent one is for motorcycles, and I want to say it was Honda. What is Top Dog and Toyota wanted a piece, or Mitsubishi, somebody wanted a piece, and so they're like, "This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna beat them at their game." And again, if I have these messed up, you guys can correct me on that. I'm trying to remember this story related to me from a business guy, but he's like, what essentially then Honda or Top Dog did is they said, "Oh, you want to challenge the Top Dog? Okay, then we are just going to throw everything we have at you and bury you. And so if you come out with the new model, we're gonna have a better model and undercut your price." And we'll lose a ton of money, but we will kill you, in the process.
Well, that's what Best Buy did that too.
Yep. And so
they
ultimately
undercut everybody. Well, and now it's coming back to haunt Best Buy too. That's why you see all the Best Buy stores closing.
Yeah.
Is because they cut their margins so low to the point that, and for so long that, everyone else went out of business, but now everybody expects electronics to be that cheap. So there's no margin.
That is tough.
So they can't make it, they still have all of this money from being gigantic, but they're not making any money because they make like 1% on their sales, which is nothing.
So then the other one that happened like that was Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors. And they're like, no, we want to be number one. We're going to take them out. And Anheuser-Busch said, not a chance. And so this is what we're doing. Bam. And they flooded the market. They just crushed them. And guess what? Still number one, still number two. And they shut down thousands of craft breweries because nobody could compete. I mean, because they controlled the price so much between the two of them because they're just trying to fight it out. And it's that old saying, when elephants fight, it's the mice who get crushed, right? Everybody underneath gets just destroyed. Now, one such instance where it didn't play out was Sony, ironically enough, the Sony Walkman and the Apple iPod. And Sony looked at that, the iPod coming out, and were like, whatever. Like, you can have your cute little thing. That's fine. We've got the Walkman. Like, everybody has a freaking Walkman. This is the greatest thing in the entire world. Portable music. Sony owns portable music. And they're like, oh, okay.
Not anymore.
Guess what? Apple kept iterating. Apple kept making it better. Do you guys still have your Walkman? You still listen to your Walkmans? No, Apple has crushed them. They came up with a better product. This is what should have happened when Microsoft, with the 360 and the PlayStation 3 launched. You get aggressive, you shut PlayStation 3. Guess what? PlayStation 3 climbed up. They took the lead.
Yep.
Now they're in first.
Now they're still in first.
And now what? PlayStation
and they're probably
is
going to
now...
stay there because you can have the best hardware in the world, but the reality is if nobody's making games for it...
And if nobody knows they can play those games on your shiny new box. And the other thing, too,
is you're targeting... I mean, as much as I like the idea of targeting that market, like, the money is not in that market. It's like, you have this market segment of, like, top-tier premium market segment that has a 4K TV, that wants VR, that wants Scorpio. Not many people are going to buy that, and nobody's... And I just don't think that the people are going to convert for the Scorpio.
Yeah.
Especially because there's no exclusives. It's okay, some games can look prettier. Whatever.
Yeah.
So they do on my PS4 Pro too. Whatever. Like, they don't look that, it's not going to be that much better. So I don't know.
I agree.
I like where Scorpio is going. I don't like that the console generation is now 3 years. But I don't know. We'll see.
So
we'll see. I just think, I guess the other thing too is, maybe it's being taken seriously internally.
Yeah, it might be.
And not being presented externally, but it seems like Microsoft is betting way too much on Scorpio, just erasing the fact that Sony is totally dominating the, like,
Well, let me ask you this.
I want to say AAA space, but like, they're doing the next best thing to having actual exclusive games.
Yeah. Well, so Miserly Pluto asks, if you were head of Xbox, what would you announce at E3, and what would you do to get Xbox back on track? And I think we're talking about it right now. Is
buy exclusive rights to IPs.
That's exactly it. Right.
That's the only way.
You are launching the Scorpio. And then if you really want to be number one, you launch Scorpio, you encourage the developers, and I use the word encourage in quotes because encourage means give them lots of money to make the game best on your console, and then sell it on your console and say, no, you want the best, absolute best, it's on our console. And if that means Destiny at 60 FPS is the best, and it might not be, I'll answer that in a sec. But if that's the case, if Call of Duty is so much smoother, then and you put your flag on that and say, and you win the multi-platform, because that's what you're comparing. Like, the exclusives are great. Yeah. Exclusives are great, right? And you can have some really wonderful exclusives, but that's a high risk, high reward. And I'll prophecy.
Say too that I really like that there's so few exclusives now. I didn't like that, you had so many exclusives on PS2, so many exclusives on GameCube, so many exclusives on Xbox, because then it meant you had to have all three consoles, which kind of means you just, I don't know, you kind of neglect two of them most of the time, and then once in a while you play them. It's kind of nice to be able to really invest in one console and have basically everything come out on that console, with it, with the exception of 2 or 3 games, maybe, through the whole generation. Because it's like, there's a couple games I'd probably like to play on PS3. Do I care enough to go out and get a PS3? Not really.
No.
There's a couple games that if I had a PS3 that I want to play that are exclusive to Xbox. Okay, that makes up for it. But before, last, I guess 2 generations ago now, you had a lot of exclusives that were only on one of the 3 consoles.
I agree.
I think the best way to, the most realistic way is what you're saying, is you say, it's best on Scorpio, and you say that in your marketing materials. You say, Destiny 2 best on Scorpio, Call of Duty plays best on Scorpio, Battlefield plays best on Scorpio.
Right.
You have that kind of thing.
And I don't necessarily.
And I think this shows too, because as it appears to an outsider, Xbox is not taking this seriously, and PlayStation is taking this very seriously, seeing Scorpio as a threat.
Yeah.
Because, the basically attack ad of most powerful console on their PS4 Pro.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, is I don't necessarily want, because attack ads, they're bad. They
it's not
grind
quite
on you,
there, but it's very close.
But here's the thing. They are memorable, and that's what people want. I have, $500 in my hand. I want to go make a console buying decision. I need to know the pros and cons. So tell me, and I understand it's now, Microsoft directed. They would be telling me why Scorpio is better and PlayStation. But yes, you're telling me the good things about your console, but why is it better than the other ones? What are you offering that the other ones don't? That's your attack ad. It doesn't have to be so frontal, and it doesn't have to be abusive, but you can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we have a UHD player in there. Do you like movies? You like UHD movies? Because PlayStation doesn't have that. Native 4K. If you want the best looking game, it's going to be on the Scorpio. That's where you need to be. If you want, and you do that and you say why yours differentiates. Yes, you can do it in a positive way, but unless you draw that connection directly to your competition, say this is why Scorpio is better than PlayStation, or this is why Scorpio is better than Switch. And let them come back and say,
that doesn't take much.
No, but then Switch can come back and say, hey, we're the only gaming console the gaming console that you can take on the road. PlayStation and Xbox are stuck to a TV. You can actually pull this out. You could do that, and you have to be judicious, because yes, games are what sell ultimately, but. Like you said, everything's on everything right now, except the Switch.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even classify the Switch as any kind of even potential competition at this point. It's its own thing. It is not a competitor to Xbox One and PS4.
It's a competitor in the 10 to 16 age range.
Yeah, and that, I don't know. It's just. I just wouldn't even put it in the same class.
Yeah.
It's like it's like in the mobile gaming class. It's competing with with Nintendo's own console, basically. Yeah. Do you pick a Switch or do you pick a 3DS? Or do you pick an iPad?
Let me circle back to the Destiny piece of this. Let me just tell you about my thoughts on Destiny in and of itself. Okay, so between 30 and 60, right, there are benefits to both, and obviously 60 is going to be the refresh rate is going to be so fast, and it's going to look so smooth, and everything's going to just really just be quick and twitchy and reactive and exciting. And I'm sure that will be awesome. I absolutely am sure that'll be awesome. There is a case to say that a 30 FPS version of the game has a different feel to it. It's a little slower. It's more cinematic. It feels more like a movie. It can be more engrossing. So it's not to say that 30 or 60.
The other thing too is it built for 60 or is it 30 that is then scaled up to 60? Now I don't know if that happens in games, but that happens in movies.
Right.
And when that happens, it doesn't look better. That's why you don't have I don't know if you still, but when I was selling TVs, 240 hertz TVs looked worse than 60 hertz TVs. Because movies are in 25. Most of the movies are 25 frames.
24, but yeah.
Yeah, 24. And you've got 240. So 9 out of 10 of those frames are made up by the TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't look better. It looks much worse.
Right. So yeah, I'd be curious to play a 60 FPS Destiny or what that would be like, but they're just not going to do it. They're just going to do 30, and that's what it's going to be. But Call of Duty's at 60, and man, that's fast.
Well,
that's fun.
They're probably all built. I would hope that AAA games are being built at 60 for PCs at least.
Probably,
because I would hope.
Yeah,
but who knows?
All right, let's move on.
There's that Watch Dogs mess that was all kinds of mess.
Let's move on to the next. We got a question from Saucy Slingo. We talked about it earlier, but he's curious if there's going to be a Rockstar month for our monthly contest, which June's coming up. We do have some contests to talk about at the end of the show, so maybe
that would motivate me because I would actually like to complete every Rockstar game.
Wow,
I'm pretty close.
That's impressive. But he asks, what Rockstar game do you think is the best in their library? Do you have one that you like the best? Are you going to say table tennis?
It's probably GTA 5. I don't know. Table tennis is up there.
Probably
GTA 5. GTA 5 is just, as much as I hate the microtransactions, man, it's gorgeous. That is just...
It's amazing what that game is.
It's so impressive. I don't know, but Red Dead, I feel I don't know, I haven't played the single player of GTA yet. But I don't know, the world of Red Dead was so it's not as impressive as GTA 5, but it was so big and it was so alive. It's tough. It's got to be between GTA 5 and Red Dead.
Agreed. And I mean, you can make a case for Bully. I think a new Bully would be as a property
Bully,
is really cool.
You got to consider Bully's a PS2 game.
Yeah.
So
as a property, it's really cool, but they just haven't done anything recent with it that really can take Red Dead or GTA off the pedestal. And so I haven't played GTA 5. I own it. But it's so big and scary that I haven't put it in my console, and so it's but everything I've seen,
same thing happened to me.
Every I mean, I watch so many YouTube videos of just awesome crap that happens in that game, and
it's as gorgeous and big as
it's unbelievable
as it appears. It's especially on the one, if that is probably the most beautiful game I've ever seen in my life. It's just they resold it a year apart, but that year, they really added a lot to that game. And even just if it was just the graphics, it looks so good on the one. Especially when you're just flying over the city. It's just amazing.
Now, Red Dead though does have one of my all-time favorite expansions, and that is Undead Nightmare. So I think the best
and that was a real expansion pack too.
Oh yeah, that's an expansion pack. That was a full-on big old expansion. Best case scenario is I would get GTA Undead Nightmare. That would be super fun. If you were in a zombie populated Los Santos, that would be the way to do it. But so I'm torn because I haven't played GTA 5. By default, then I have to go with Red Dead. I loved the story in Red Dead, and I loved everything about Red Dead. I'm typically a story-driven guy, and from what I hear, GTA 5's story isn't really that's not really why you play the game. You play the game because you can do anything you want.
I've heard it's pretty good. I mean, it's probably not going to be as good as Red Dead, and it's definitely going to be better than GTA 4. Man, that GTA 4 story was bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Like, and you know, the funny thing, I don't remember if I mentioned it on the podcast before, but GTA 4, because I remember I played it right when it came out. This was when I was still on the hype train. I played it for a week. I was like, this is the best game I've ever played. Then I finished the story and I was like, this was the best game I ever played for like a day. And then it's just the same thing over and over again for another 25 hours. And I just remember that. I just remember the story just going nowhere, being pointless, a bunch of forgettable characters. And I went back to it years later when I did it on PC, and I was saying, okay, I'm not gonna skip the cutscenes. I'm gonna watch the story again and see, like, because there were so many people that really rave about GTA 4 being so good and so alive and immersive and had this story. And I played it again, and I was like, this is exactly how I remember it. It wasn't like I was like, okay, I've got to be remembering this game wrong.
Right.
Nope. It's exactly how I remembered it.
You know, Big L has a question for you, Randy, about a game. He asks, what is the best part about Crackdown? Is it the awesome gameplay, the hilarious agent? Is it the frantic co-op, or the intuitive collectibles?
It would have to be the voice guy saying agent. That is the best thing about Crackdown. I wouldn't even call it a redeeming feature. The only reason it's a redeeming feature is because every time I see Crackdown tweet something, I just feel the need to respond with agent.
Yeah,
and
I could see it.
I withhold from doing that. Although I think it might be funny to do it on every one of their tweets until they respond and be like, what are you doing? Why are you responding to every
Why are you
tweet
such
with
a troll?
So nothing.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
I'm curious what E3 is going to have for Crackdown 3 and what the fully destructible lie engine is going to be. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm still thinking vaporware on that one.
Montana 97 asks, hey, Cars 3 is releasing this month or next month on the 360. When do you think the final 360 title is going to drop? Is this it? Is this the last one?
It's very possible it could be this one. I was actually talking to Jack today, and I got him to pull some info for me. Let me bring this up really quick here.
Is it about like the last releases?
He queried TA because there's no real good way to go about getting the release dates by date, but of course TA has dates and he can query the database.
Sure.
So there have been no releases in 2017. Not one.
Not a single 360.
Not a single 360 game. The most recent game to come out on disc for 360 was Just Dance 2017 that came out in November of 2016.
Okay.
Actually, no, Cars is not going to be the last one because there is another game that is announced.
Oh.
Which is, I think, PES 2018, I guess it would be.
Pro Evolution Soccer 2018?
Yes, which all three people that buy that game, I hope they all play together on release day because nobody else is going to.
That is astonishing.
So it's really interesting that there's still stuff coming out for the 360. We also had the next most recent game is Bullet Soul Infinite Burst, which is digital only. So I guess technically it's XBLA. And this was the international release of Bullet Soul Infinite Burst. It was released in Japan quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And that, I think, came out on a disc. There's, before that, Skylanders Imaginators, which would have been released on disc, WWE 2K17, FIFA 17, NBA 2K17, Bullet Soul Not Infinite Burst, which I believe was a digital only. You've got PES 2017, Batman Telltale. And then I was surprised this was still on the list, but North versus South, which was the last like real XBLA release, which came out quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really dried up when you look at this list. And yeah, so I would bet Cars is probably going to be the last non-sports game released for the 360. We might get another Just Dance. I think it's probably a stretch. I don't imagine we will.
Right.
But Yeah, probably Cars, PES, maybe another WWE. I don't imagine the EA Sports games are going to get another round, but we'll see.
Yeah. Huh.
So, I mean, the thing that I think would be interesting, though, is if all of these 360 games that come out, the very few that still do, because, you know, there might be one or two more that trickle out, if they were backwards compatible on launch, which I think would do a lot to encourage people to buy them. Because if you still have a 360, you're thinking about upgrading, but you want Cars 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
So you get Cars 3, you know it's backwards compatible when it comes out.
Right.
When you upgrade to your 1, oh, I don't have to worry about selling my 360 in a month and a half because I can still play Cars that I just bought a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
I don't have to rebuy it for the 1. So that would be cool if that happened. I don't think it will, but...
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think it... Actually, no, WWE wouldn't be. I was going to say, because Bullet Soul was backwards compatible on launch.
The new
yeah, Bullet Soul Infinite Verse, the international version, was released when the game went backwards compatible. Imaginators can't be because it needs a peripheral, but then I was looking at WWE and FIFA and they're not going to be. So I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe that's a trend, but no, it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We've got another question here.
I don't think the 360's got much more life in it.
Oh my gosh, no. Absolutely not.
I mean, I wish it did. I still love my 360. I play it more than my one.
I actually play it a lot as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, realistically, of course it's on its way out.
Question.
Well, it's on its way out as the console, but as backwards compatibility, I think it has a lot of life left in it.
I think so too. Grug has a question. He says, hey, has anyone, like us, have you guys ever completed a game, achievement-wise, without looking at the achievement list or using a guide at all? And if not, would you consider trying it?
Not without looking at the list.
I just looked at my completed games, every one of them, and aside from, so take Telltale games out and take, like, the Connect Fun Labs out. Well, no, even that I looked at the list.
But you would have looked at the list for Connect Fun Labs.
So it's just only Telltale. Take Telltale ones out. I have always looked at a list.
Yeah, me too.
You know, except when you knowing that just you have to complete the story. Like,
as soon as I discovered achievements, I've been looking at the lists in some form or another. I mean, there are plenty of games I've completed without a guide.
Oh yeah,
but not without looking at the list. I mean, that would be tough. That'd be super tough to do it without looking at the list because you wouldn't even know what to do.
No, exactly. So unless the game was designed like, oh, you literally just have to play through
just beat the game.
Yeah, just beat the game.
Yeah, of course, a beat the game, but then you would be looking at the list to figure out that it's one of those kind of games. So, I mean, I don't think I'd want to just because it would take a lot of time just trying things.
Yes.
I'd probably, if I really set my mind to it, I could probably pick a new game that's coming out and not look at the list, like a Neo Geo game, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. That's not fair because they're all the same, too.
Yeah, they're all the same list. So I don't know. Does that count? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could pick a game that was coming out, kind of just based on what type of game it was. I could probably figure out what the achievements are going to be.
Yeah.
And complete it if I really set my mind to it.
If you have a developer who enjoys the achievement list and it makes fun achievements, then the point is to read them and try and either deduce or execute what they have in mind. And so there'd be things that you wouldn't necessarily do anyway. So it's that's kind of the game. I
was going to say, I feel like that's kind of the point of achievements is to really encourage you to experience everything and maybe do things in a non-conventional way. A good achievement list will do that.
Yeah.
It's not the point of achievements in general because that's the Gamerscore and points and all that good stuff.
Yeah, right. Mitreal B asks, what is the most pain or physical discomfort a game has ever put you in? Both traditional console schemes and non-traditional console schemes like Kinect, Rock Band, drums, etc. And Skeptical Mario says, hey, that's a great question because he was really sore after unlocking Animal in Rock Band 1. Or Animal, I suppose is how it's pronounced. Do you have the one... I'm trying. I'm trying to think of traditional control, because I do remember playing copious amounts of Gunstringer, and the crick in my neck after that, because you got to hold your hands up like you're manipulating a marionette puppet, and my shoulders were not ready for that action, and so that pained me to no end. That was abusive. As far as traditional control schemes, I'm trying to think of any that were just had a real challenge with. Do you have you have any questions?
I don't think. I really can't think of any. Traditional.
The one I can think of the most is that I have challenges with is Crimson Dragon, because you have to hold to effectively hold the controller. You want to do the claw, where you can keep your index fingers actually high up on the Y button, and then you use the R bump and the trigger, and so you can still keep on the stick, but then have your index finger manipulate the buttons. That hurts my hand. Like I'm not good at the claw, and so I don't like to play that way. So that one's probably from a just physically holding the controller in a strange manner game that causes me problems.
I mean, I guess the closest that it would be is if I play a lot of Killer Instinct. Sometimes I like, mashing the D-pad and the buttons and everything a lot. I get like kind of raw thumbs.
Yep,
but,
the raw thumb.
I mean, that's after like a really long play session. That's not really a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been real sore after Connect a number of times. Like, don't want to walk the next day type thing if I really go to town. But I don't know. I playing Rock Band drums was my main instrument, and I would kind of pace myself. Like if I was getting sore, I would stop. So I didn't really have any of those super sore moments. The same thing as kind of raw fingers on guitar if I really did a long session. Actually, no, the most recent one, funny enough, when I was pushing to complete all of the Guitar Hero games one weekend, I sat on a hard metal chair for like 8 hours, and my back has been messed up ever since that. And
well, that'll do it.
That's probably the most is that, because it gets me, like when I try to go to sleep.
Yeah.
My back is sore, and I don't know if it's actually from that, but it seems like a weird coincidence, like that I was sitting on a hard metal chair all day in a weird position playing Guitar Hero.
Right.
With kind of like an impromptu setup. And then my back's all messed up afterwards. I could see those being connected.
Yeah. The other thing I can think of is like eye strain. Like I remember playing.
I don't get that at all.
I see. Like games like Resident Evil. I remember playing Resident Evil, and so I'd play in the dark, and then you're looking at a relatively dark screen, like, and you got to kind of look close, and then there might be flashes of light, and it's like, but that's not like physical pain, but it's certainly like, your eyes start to get a little sore and stingy, but that's not that dramatic or extreme. Let's move on to Skeptical Mario's question after he gave Mint Rail B the thumbs up. He asks, my question, what fictional animal from a game would you like to have as a pet? And then he adds, no Pokemon answers. So, if Prue was here, he'd, be chomping at the bit to do a Pokemon. I'm even kind of thinking myself, what would I do? Anyway, non-Pokemon answer, pet that you would like to have. I'd be hard pressed not to have some kind of dragon that I could ride around on. So he needs to be big enough for me to fly, but small enough where, like, I guess I could keep him in a garage. Because, I don't want, like, a dragon as big as my house. Like, that's not that fun. Like, I like the fact, like, my dog is small and I can wrestle with him and play with him. So I'd like a dragon that's, maybe the size of like a motorcycle that I could ride on.
Motorcycle size
yeah.
dragon.
Yeah. He's going to be like small and fast, but like I can play with him like a big old dog, but he's also super strong, so I can ride him. That's what I want, a dragon. What about you, Randy?
I don't even know.
No you want like Bigfoot? Does he count as a pet?
I could. I don't know.
Well, here,
dragon seems like a good answer.
Maybe
you can ride it around town.
Maybe you can answer Rocker Dude's questions. He says, "What kind of fictional animal from a game would you like to have as a pet?" Only Pokemon answers. So Rocker Dude wants to know my Pokemon answer for favorite pet. Do you even know any Pokemon, Randy?
Yeah, I used to play Pokemon.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a little behind the times.
Sure.
But I can still pick one.
Do you have a Pokemon that you want as a pet?
I always like Porygon. He seemed kind of cool.
You would. I actually don't. Yeah, I don't have any strong. My favorite.
See, I always like to do in the Pokemon games. Like when I got to the end and I did everything, I would just start taking like basic Pokemon that I liked and not letting them evolve. So I had like a level 90 Geodude and like
sure.
I probably had a Porygon that was way up there too. So it'd just be like some stupid high level. But it, obviously it wasn't evolved.
Yeah,
it was supposed to evolve a long time ago. I would stop it every time.
Right. So my favorite Pokemon is Cubone. Like I love Cubone. I think he's badass. I think he looks cool. It's sad about his mom, but like he's always my favorite. But I don't know if I'd want him as he's kind of depressing. I don't know if I'd want him as my pet. If I'm thinking.
So you're saying I should pick a Cubone?
Yeah. Oh, he's super depressing. Yeah. That skull on his head. Yeah, that's his mom's. Anyway, so I kind of thinking practical would be the best here, and I'm not sure how he feels about me as an owner, but like. Mewtwo would be pretty great with those crazy strong telekinesis powers. Maybe I pick somebody like an Alakazam who's not as, destructive, or Mew, maybe Mew by itself, but it kind of looks like a lumpy cat. And I don't really like cats, but, maybe a Mew. I want that telekinetic power. That's really what I want, because I'd be like, Mew, can you get a Celebi? Can you just get my those chips from the pantry? Can you just float those on over here?
It's even smaller, and it's not a cat. It's like a plant thing.
Does it got telekinesis?
I think so.
All right, then. I'm in.
That was the second generation's Mew, so I would assume so.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, yeah.
It was that same thing. It was that like the exclusive one you couldn't actually get without cheating. It's so stupid. I hated that. Even though I had in silver version, I had a Celebi appear once. I assume it was a glitch, and then it ran away immediately.
No, jeez.
So that was a nice little tease once.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's
and
annoying.
Of course, I had duplicated Master Balls, so I should have caught it. Nope.
Oh, man. Final question is from Cowboy Killer again, and he asks, at what point do you give up on a completion?
Never.
No, never. Wow.
Actually, that's not true. Mushihime-sama Futari never happened unless somebody comes to my house that can play the game, because that is just like I don't want to do it. I probably could eventually, but it would be another graw. Like you're talking years where you memorize every piece of this game. I just don't want to do it. It's like almost. I mean, I don't know if I would say almost as hard as Death Smiles, but I mean it's one of those kind of games.
Yeah,
that you just have to memorize the whole game. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
Mine typically comes down to the point. So I'll be playing a game, and there will come a point when the game stops being fun. So when I stop enjoying the game, that is when then I do.
That's just when you're getting started.
Well, so that's when you do the calculation. Okay, so like I'll play the game and I'll just all right, I'm having fun. Yeah, we'll keep working at the completion, and then at some point the game stops being fun, and then you think to yourself, okay, I'm now not enjoying playing the game, and so what is left that I feel like I can put very little time into and still get, and then be done with it. And that is typically when I make my decision as to, okay, is the completion still in range, or am I just going to be happy with the amount of score that I have and leave? Like, so for instance, Diablo 3. Like, I'm going to play through the hell, all of the Inferno and get those achievements. And then I'm going to look at my achievement lists and I'm going to say, okay, how much gold do I have? Okay, I'm at 1.2 million. And I need 5 million for this last achievement. And I'm going to say, it's been a pleasure, guys, but I'm out of here. Like, at that point, that will not be fun for me to do that. It's like I would want to switch to a different version. There are games I've made that choice, and I've made the wrong choice, like Never Dead, where I said, oh, I only need one more achievement. It's only 10 million XP. That's not so bad. That was the wrong choice. I should have said, screw that game and not even dealt with it. And again, it comes down to, okay, well, how many are going to be left? Is it going to be one, hanging Charlie there that I can't get? Or is it going to be, like in Gears with Seriously? It's like, I know I'm not doing Seriously, so should I even bother trying to get the 100, grenade kills or the 100 Hammer of Dawn kills? Or something? It's like, no. Like, that's dumb. I'm not going to bother with Gears of War multiplayer. Like, does nothing for me. So that's the point. That's where I make my decision. Am I still having fun? And when I reach the point of no, then it's what's left, and that's it, kind of thing. So there we have it. That was it for listener feedback. Randy, it's just you and me, buddy. What do you think for question of the week? You got a winner? You got a favorite?
Oh man, we got some good.
There was
Scorpio
a ton
console talk there.
of awesome questions this week. I absolutely loved all the discussion that we had.
I mean, the dilemmas from Fufu's question were great too.
Fufu is my pick for the favorites. He really dove into who we are as people and picked some really great, he proved he listened.
And I'm sure next week when Tarragon and Prue get into this, there's going to be some more dilemmas.
Double dip. So
yeah,
Fufu,
I agree with you there.
You're the big winner. Thank you for that awesome question. And thank you, everybody else, for your amazing questions. There were some really great ones in there. You guys really outdid yourself this week. So thank you so much. Let's move into, we're running a little long here. So let's do a real quick recap on just kind of what your week looked like. Randy, you said you've been gaming quite a bit, but, maybe we can get the Cliff's Notes version. Let's do some highlights.
I've been gaming quite a bit, but it's all been the same games.
Really?
So, yeah, so I didn't play a lot of games. I mean, I mentioned Vaccine. I also finished off Subject 13. Great end to the story. I mentioned it before. It's a no-brainer if you like adventure games. Great game. Really enjoyed that all the way through. I played some Saints Row Fun with Prue. And then I played some Sports League. So
how'd that go?
For those of you that don't know what these games are, that we mention the wrong names all the time. Saints Row 4, Australian version on the 360, and Rocket League. Rocket League, I was actually just playing single player. I just figured I should really just mop up all of the easy achievements aside from the things that you're going to get from playing online, like shots on goal.
Sure.
Because this is a game I'm going to be playing past the completion for sure. It's a blast.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So I figured I should get the completion while it's completable, because there's a lot of achievements, a lot of updates. Things might break.
Yep.
And it's an easy completion. So I just started picking away at that. I played a little bit of Saints Row 2 German version. Starting to work on that again with my friend. And mostly been playing Oblivion, because I've got some momentum going in Oblivion and I want to get it done so I never have to play it again.
Oh, you're liking it that much?
No. It's so boring. It's just as boring as I remember it. But now I've just got the motivation to just do it. So yeah. I'm not gonna complain, and I'm just gonna power through it. So
there it is.
I'm playing lots. I'm hoping I think I might complete it this weekend. We'll see.
Wow.
I got Monday off.
Holiday.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Depends on how bored I get. But I almost finished all of the Fighters Guild quest line today. So
There you go. Those were some of my last ones. I think Thieves Guild was my last one, but
Thieves Guild was a pain.
Yeah.
I'm done that one already. Fighters Guild is really annoying because it's super long. But I finished the main quest line too, which was also annoying and long. So I think I'm getting the worst of it done. I think Shivering Isles might take a little bit. I've got a little bit of progress there.
I don't think it took me that long, Shivering Isles. I thought that was pretty quick.
Shorter than main quest?
No. Well, see, that's where I'm confused, because it's like I don't remember, because I'm a wanderer, so I don't really remember. I felt like Shivering Isles was like a solid 6 hours. Like if you just focused on it,
probably close to main quest if you did the same thing.
Yeah. But at that point, like I was done. I'd already finished the main game and then bought Shivering Isles way later.
Yeah, Shivering Isles is going to be, I think Dark Brotherhood is going to be my last thing, because that is going to cause me to level up, and I don't want to level up because you have to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'll do Dark Brotherhood last. I'll do everything before that because I want to stay at level 5. Because I've got cheater weapons and cheater armor. Not really. I mean, it's just I've completed the whole game at level 5, so I've got this crazy armor. And if the enemies get stronger around me, then there's no benefit to me leveling up.
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good.
So I'll save Dark Brotherhood for last and not level up until I have to for Dark Brotherhood, which at that point it's not going to be a big deal.
Right.
So, not that the game's hard anyway, but I'm not going to make it harder on myself than it already is.
Oh, no reason to. Absolutely.
But that's it for me.
Cool. I had mentioned multiple times, but Destiny completion since last time on the show, that's done for. I'm really excited about that. Of course, we're doing Diablo 3, got an achievement in that, and Titanfall, working on that. Those are as per usual. If you listened to Review Zed last week, we played We Are the Dwarves. Well, I got the completion this week. I ended up getting that last achievement.
I did also play ukulele.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And then I assume we'll hear a review on that at some point.
That is coming up this week.
There you go. We Are the Dwarves. Easy completion, relatively easy completion, and you don't have to finish the game. It took me 5 hours and 15 minutes straight, and you can listen to the Review Zed segment to get all the details. It was on how that game played out. So I won't say that here. And then it's the end of the month, guys. So I've been focusing on random to do list and the Gamertag challenge, Meet where y'all be. So I got my double I's out of the way in iZombie and started I Am Alive, the XBLA title, because I also have a random to-do list in that. And so I've been kind of chipping away just a touch at that one to try and get something out of that. It's not so bad. It's like Assassin's Creed, but I'm using a walkthrough because I just want to play it once on Survivor. So you guys can call me a baby or whatever, but I'm only going to play that game once. My daily kind of chipping away at Age of Empires Castle Siege. Well, I finally looted enough stone, and now I think I'm done getting achievements until 2,000 crowns. So you will not hear from that game again because I don't know how long it's going to take. It's probably going to take forever. I got a couple of random to-do list items in level 22. It's a fun little stealth game. You wake up from partying all night and have to sneak your way into work. And so they do some kind of clever, sneak mechanics to bypass your coworkers and how to get through security. And so you're trying to sneak your way back to your office. They have some clever collectibles, and that's what the achievements are, like little figurines, comic book figurines of your cohort. And so that's a fun game. I just got my 2 quick achievements in like World 1, I think. I only played the first 4 levels, but I enjoyed it. It's easy. It's an easy completion. So if you're looking for some easy points, that is one way to go about it. I have put the game down, and I'm hoping more random to-do list items come off of that, because those are easy achievements. I also played a little bit of Minecraft. Did some random work on that this week. My kids are really into it right now, and so I'm trying to convince them to play the tutorial. Like, hey, you guys like creative mode now, right? Well, the tutorial has everything.
Like, hey, you guys like to build us a world on 360 that we can share, right?
Like everything's in the
You have
tutorial.
everything that's nicely organized just for all of the achievements.
Yeah. So,
right?
that's where. So while they were playing that, I was doing stuff in the tutorial, and there's still a lot of easy achievements out there that I need to work on, and I need to sit down and I wish next month's gamertag had an M in it, because I need to sit down and just rip through the multiplayer. Get a second controller and just set those things up and just beat the tar out of myself. Finally, and this is, I have a random to-do list for this too, but I don't think I can achieve it, unfortunately, is Rogue Legacy. And I've mentioned this game before multiple times, but I just thoroughly enjoy this game. You typically have to do a lot of grinding unless you're immensely good at dodging and platforming and stuff. I am not. I'm reckless, and I don't like to take my time, so I die all the time. And that's fine. Whatever. You can also do a glitch where you can get unlimited money, which takes a significant amount of time, but for one of the achievements where you play the game and can die less than 15 times and still beat the game, you kind of need to do the glitch so your guy's jacked up and you can, buy good armor, good weapons, and have different good classes available to you. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to play it normal. I think I've died like 50 sometimes. I am burning through my family tree quite significantly, but it's a super fun game. I really enjoy it, and so if you haven't played that, I highly recommend Rogue Legacy. It is great. And I think that's so. Do we have any knobs and discos we want to talk about?
We do have one.
Which is it's a non-knob now, right?
It is. It is the Vendetta achievement in Zeros is now obtainable. So it's good that they went back and fixed that.
Yes. They didn't give it Gamerscore, though, did they?
They did.
Oh, it has Gamerscore, too. Wow.
It does.
Look
it's
at
got
that.
100 points now.
Delightful. Man, that's great. Okay, well,
the Forgotten Land achievements all got Gamerscore now, so...
Interesting.
Bonus.
So there you go. Knobs and Discos is
no more
done.
zeros on zeros.
Their namesake is gone. Oh my goodness. Randy, what are you going to be up to this week? What do you got? You mentioned Oblivion this weekend.
Yeah,
anything
I think
else?
Oblivion. When Prue gets back, we're probably going to play some more Saints Row Fun. Probably some more Rocket League. I'm trying to motivate myself to go back to Volgar the Viking. I really don't like that game. But I really want to just clean up all my Xbox One games that are outstanding. I also want to clean up all my 360 games that are outstanding. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, probably going to be a lot of that. I'm thinking I'm just going to take the plunge and finish off all those music games that I queued up a few weeks ago and just complete them. Because Creeping Death is too hard, and that'll get done when it gets done. So...
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see. No set plans. Probably lots of Oblivion.
Yeah. And I'm starting up a couple new boosting sessions, and so I've mentioned them on Discord. So obviously, it's when this show comes out, it'll be too late to join. But if you're ever curious, I end up posting in Discord to try and set these games up. But we'll be starting a weekly Zombie Army trilogy run. I think it's Beer Me, Fug, and Koosh. Hey, by the way, Fug, congratulations on getting a new job. That's awesome. It was a bummer when he lost his job, but he's back employed.
Yeah, good on you for pulling up your bootstraps.
Yeah, didn't have to wait as long as Randy, so
nope.
I'm sure he's happy about that.
I didn't pull on my bootstraps as hard as he did.
Must not have been. So the four of us are going to play some Zombie Army Trilogy on Sunday nights. Looking forward to that. Just, small little run, trying to chip away at that slowly and surely. And I've asked the community to help me out with my Halo 4 War Games wins. I still need to get a few games there for my random to-do list. And then I've made a list between now and May 31st, I got some Slice Zombies for Connect to do, Little Fat City, and I will... What's the last one? I Am Alive, going to chip at that. And then I didn't do anything for Telltale Month, so if I can squeeze in, maybe just get one more chapter of Tales from the Borderlands and then kind of ride that into...
That is something I might do, is I might start The Walking Dead this week to prepare for the upcoming debate.
Oh, that's right.
Need to do my
forgot about
research. Need to do my research.
So I'm hoping to finish Tales from the Borderland, but that's like 4 nights worth of gaming, and I'm not sure that's going to happen. It might happen into June. And then, of course, the June random to-do lists come out, and when you listen to this show, they are live, so... I am so excited to see what my new list is. I'm pumped. I like that. That's one of my favorite days, is the start of the new month. And if you're curious about what those new challenges are, I highly recommend you listen after I say goodbye, sign off the show. But at this point, we're going to say goodbye to Randy, and I'm going to move into zombie news. So, Randy, why don't you give your sign off, where we can find you, and how to connect with you.
Yep. Well, you can always PM me on TA. I read those when I get them, usually, unless I'm busy. Or you can message me on Twitter at Randy2727. I'm pretty responsive to those too. Or you can come find me in our Discord chat, because I'm usually keeping an eye on that as well. So any of those, you can find me. And I will see you guys on Reviews Ed.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys should listen to the Reviews Ed segments. They're fun to do. I just signed up for another one, so you'll hear my voice again down the road, but I don't know what the timing is on that one. We'll find out. So as of so we're going to say see you, Randy, and we're going to move into zombie news. All right, I got a couple of brief zombie news nuggets here. The first of which is the big news of the week in terms of zombie-related movies is the Resident Evil live-action film series, the traditional one starring Mila Jovovich. Well, those have come to an end, yet the studio has said that they will reboot the series. So Constantine Films is the company that currently owns the series, and they're saying that it's rebooting. So Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich are out, after the final chapter, which inherently is the final chapter of their story, and then you should expect a reboot that's going to start. Now, if Resident Evil 7 is any indication, perhaps they take a wild departure and go back to more traditional horror roots. I don't know. We'll have to see and see where that plays out. So that is Zombie Nugget number 1. Zombie Nugget number 2, there was a game I talked about back in the day called Moving Hazard, where it was a first-person shooter that you could enlist zombies. You could like airdrop a crate full of zombies onto your enemy, and then they would go attack them. And essentially use zombies as your weapon, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so anyway, that game actually had a rebranding. Their Twitter handle and the actual name of the game has now switched. It is called Dead Alliance. And with that, they gave us a release date. And we can expect Dead Alliance, formerly Moving Hazard, to come out on August 29th. Which, that's pretty darn quick. I'm thinking that E3 might be full of some screenshots, gameplay, something along those lines. Should be a delightful, fun time. So I think that's going to do it for our episode here. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, because we have enjoyed recording it. And if you, our awesome listeners, could give us a shout-out, a little bit of help, it would be wonderful if you could rate or review us on iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. That would be just fantastic. We would really appreciate it. It helps get the show out there, and continue promoting the show through social media or wherever you're linked through. Our website is z2z.com. You can find show notes, credits, links to things that we've talked about during the show, and there are so many ways to reach us, anybody in the show. But the two best ones are Twitter, at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, or emailing us directly, contact at z2z.com. And I want to give a big shout-out to everyone who made this show possible. So, on behalf of Randy, This has been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next episode. All right, it's time for the community roundup. It is the end of May, so make sure you get your submissions in for the May contests before they close on the 7th-ish to get your name entered into the prize. Random to-do lists should be launching by the time you are hearing this episode or within minutes of hearing it. So it is wonderful. I can't wait. I love the random to-do list. It is some of the most fun I have each and every month. If you failed to unlock anything in May and were booted out of the competition, fret not, dear listener. You are free to join back at any time. Simply post in the forums that you'd like to rejoin. We just don't want to be carrying dead weight, and so we understand if you had a tough month or a weird month or you were just so into some other game. That's totally okay. Just let us know you want to get back in. Otherwise, if you did unlock even a single achievement, you will automatically get a new list the next month. That's all it takes. One achievement. So look to our website, our forums, forum.z2z.com for the new lists, the link to the spreadsheet that has your up-to-date list. And remember, a single achievement not only gets you a new list each month, but it also gives you at least one entry for the random draw each month. And so you have a chance to win prizes. The month of May was Telltale Month. Hopefully you got your story-based completions done and posted them into the forums. June brings us the A to Z Challenge, and this actually mirrors the True Achievements Contest, which if you're hearing this for the first time and the TA Challenge has not launched, you better head over to that site because it's being announced the same time this show is released. Pretty simple rules, right? You unlock achievements in the order of the alphabet. They can be, you can have achievements in between, but you cannot move into the B achievement until you have satisfied the A achievement. And you can't move to C unless you have A, then B, then you can do C, then you could do D. But if you did D and then XW3, open parenthesis, hashtag 7MN, then you found E, totally fine. But now you're starting at E, then you can move to F and G, etc. You get the idea. Unlike the TA contest that will be done after you complete one cycle, so A through Z, well, our contest does not. Go ahead and start over at the beginning, back over at A. So you make it to Z, start over at A, and every single achievement you unlock for that alphabet challenge will get you an entry. So one cycle gets you 26, and if you only get another 4 more, well, so you got 30. And that's how you can earn yourself a prize. There's no race to be the first one to complete the cycle, anything like that. It is simply take all month and try and get through the alphabet. So that's the June A to Z Challenge on the Z to Z community, and you should check out the TA community because they're doing the same thing. And I think they're introducing a brand new badge. I hope they do. I hope that was implemented. Gamertag Challenge, Mitreal B was in May. Make sure you get your submissions in. And June brings us Giant Hunger. It is a delightful 11-letter tag. U might be a problem. There's an I. And keep in mind, if you don't have submissions for those, it's okay. You can still get partial credit and get one extra, one admission just for playing 11 different games, pretty much. I know some of those letters you do actually need, like N's. They're not rare enough. But shouldn't be too bad, right? You guys all have a decent collection of games with golds that likely fill those letters that are needed. The Mokos for the month of May, the Forces of May, based on the Star Wars crawls. Make sure you get your submissions in for that. And June, well, you got to watch the forums because I don't even know what it is yet. So go check out our forums, see what the Mokos is for June. Always a good time. M. Surin's contests are absolutely delightful, and they encourage gaming. I'm sure it very well is E3 focused. That would be my guess. He tends to be pretty current with his events, but I don't know. We'll see. Could be anything. As far as the big contest still ongoing in terms of Gamerscore is the Great True Achievements Score Challenge. We just wrapped up period 20 last week. We are down to 71 teams, and we had a near miss here. The team Can't Quit Your Day Jobs, 6 spots above elimination. Only they were less than 200 points away, and that team consists of Fug, Geek Squad, Tropan, Fresh, and Mr. Costy. So good luck. You guys survive yet another week. We've got multiple teams still in it, fighting through this. You guys are getting close to the halfway point. Keep up the great work. As far as the individual contest, we are down to 215 individuals. Our nearest miss was Matriarch, was less than 70 points. She did have a relatively comfortable 10 spots between her and elimination, although we had 2 individuals that just did not quite get enough. Beer Me 7 was eliminated from the G-Task this period, and our very own host, Prue. Oh, you should not have gone to that wedding. I hope it was worth it. I hope seeing your friend's happiness outweighs losing in period 20 on the GTASC. I think we can all agree that it probably doesn't, but, that's us, that's him. We'll have to talk to him next week about this tragic loss. I say that now, but knowing that I'm terrible at remembering things like this, so you'll likely hear when episode 77 comes around that I failed to ask him, but I'm going to do my best. I'll cross my fingers. We'll see what happens. And so that's about it, guys. We have tons of spots in our Discords for all sorts of different boosting groups and LFGs out there. A lot of people looking for things to do. And with the new random to-do list, there's some people who are going to be looking for some gaming. I needed last-minute help on Halo 4 last night, and that got me a random to-do list item. So keep your eyes on the forum. Feel free to post looking for help to try and get you those random to-do list achievements. That'll be it, guys, for the month of May into June and our contest roundup. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys like these contests because I just love doing them. I love hosting them, and I love participating in them. So I'm glad there's a lot of people out there. I get tons and tons of submissions. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work. Good luck in June, and good luck to winning some prizes out of May. So with that, we'll catch you next week. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed the contests, and good luck, like I said. We'll see you guys later. Bye.